Good morning, folks. Appalachia Cryptid Encounters here. So, I took this footage yesterday morning, early morning hours, and just I kept hearing this little pebbles, like pebbles were being thrown on the porch. Like it would skip across my 2x6s, and I think it was one of the little juveniles throwing rocks down on the porch to get my attention, and so my battery was being charged on my good camera, so I didn't have a battery to take my good camera out. So I took my cell phone, and one of my subscribers had mentioned that I try landscape mode, right? And so that's what I did with my cell phone. It's not as good as footage as my long distance camera, but still pretty decent footage. And it was just single shot burst footage. So here we go. So that's a pretty good image right there, right? It's got a lot of detail at night, you know. But when you zoom in, things, pixelate. But with that landscape mode, man, it does help out a lot. And you'll see that there's a lot of detail still remaining in this landscape mode. But this is a pretty considerable distance here from me to the Sasquatch. And man, look at this giant. He is huge. So I'm going to, first off, I'm just going to enlighten it a little bit because of YouTube's diminishing returns when you upload to its platform. So I'll just turn a little bit of the brightness up. Okay. That's all I'm going to do to it. So also, let me see here. Let me just go in here to where it was. Alright. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that to where I can zoom way in. Now this Sasquatch he's every bit of 8 foot tall. Probably about 8.5 foot, I surmise. The top of his head is right here. Here's his head right here. Here's his face. There's his conical head, his broad shoulders. Look at that. Standing back here. He is a monster, man. Absolutely huge. And then he's got a Sasquatch stand up behind him here. And another one right here. And there's one right here. It's just amazing. Let me see here. So I'm going to take the markups off there so you can get a good look. But look at his, you can see his silhouette, the big Sasquatch's silhouette, right? Look at his head right here. So he's got his face right here, you can see. There's his lips, his nose, his eyes are right there. Big guy. See how wide his shoulders is there? And he's got this juvenile on top of him. It looks like his hand's outstretching here a little bit. And the juvenile's body is like this right here. Alright, there's the juvenile. And then there's another giant standing up behind him right here. He's got a nocturnal shade lens there, and his eyes shut on the standing up behind them all. But that's what we got going on right there. But man, is he massive. That is one massive Sasquatch. And then there's a juvenile right here standing up in the trees. Right here. Facing this way, looking behind him. Probably some more Sasquatches behind him there, no doubt. Looking backwards there. See that? Looks like there might be a giant on the other side because you can see a nose right here and a mouth. So he's turned around, communicating with an adult standing up behind him. See that? That's what we got going on there. Okay, pretty good footage. Pretty amazing footage. Let me see here. All right. Also, there was, let me see. I don't know if it's this image. There's a Sasquatch way back here in this brush, but can't see it in this image. I'll have to show you in the next image. Okay. So in this image, I got the light a little bit further left, right? And this one here I turned up the sharpness on this image. And you can see this Sasquatch he has turned around a little bit to face me. And you can see his face right there. See his eye right here barely watching me. His nose, his mouth, his other eye. His big body silhouette, right? He was over this way and over here, but now he's turned around to look at me. Now that I've hit him with the light, so he's turned around at me. The adult that was back here is turned around and looking at me now too. Look at that face. Just amazing, man. Amazing footage. Look at that. It's got its nocturnal shade lenses on, and then you see the juvenile wrapped around his head. Look at on the top of him here. See, in that last image, I told you that there was a juvenile and it looked like he was turned around conversating. That's what it was. He was getting on his head. He was picking him up. The juvenile was standing on a little branch and got on the back of his head. Just amazing. There's another Sasquatch turning around there. Let me see down here. Okay, there was two Sasquatches standing down here. You'll see the one his arms are like this. All right. A little juvenile, and his head is right here. It's camouflage, but like that. Standing there. And then there's another one standing here. And his face is right here. But with this image, I done the sharpness on it. That's why it looks a little more, well, sharpness. But there was some other Sasquatches over here. One that was peeking around the tree. You can't hardly see. Let me get off this image. This ain't the best one. Let me see about this one here. I was trying to see that adult that was way back there. I don't know what I've done with that footage. I'll have to find it. Right here is an adult standing in the back in those trees, way back in there. At least 30 foot back in the woods there. There's two Sasquatches. Let me see if it'll let me. On this one, here's, I think this is a Darrow because of his snout. And he's got one of those little Darrow hobbits up in its marsupial pouch there. And then the other Sasquatch is right here. Is where he's at. Which I got more footage on these guys. It's just, you can't see it as good on this image, but that's where they are. Let me see if I can find that other really good image I got of those two guys. Also, I got an image. It's just mind-boggling how many Sasquatches are in this footage. Let me see here. Here's one where the little juveniles up in the tree turn around looking at me. Look at that face. Hairy little guy. Standing up in a tree. Watching me. You can see his foot there. Right below his head there. You see that's his hand, I think. Cuffed on that tree branch. Supporting his weight there. Right here. Just a second. We'll take a look at this. Okay, right here's his arm. And right here's his fingers. And he's supporting his weight on this tree branch. It's kind of this way right here. He's leaning on his arm. And look at his face. Wow. Check that out, man. Now, he's got his nocturnal lens shade covered in his right eye. His left one's open. And that's what he's looking at me with. Look at that. Now, I could do some enhancements and lighten that up. Let's see here. Let's work on this for a minute here. Let's see. It might be too much. I might have to turn it down a little bit. Wow, look at that. You can see the hair. See the waviness in his hair. And that little juvenile he's got on top of his head there. Just amazing. Let me turn some of this down. You can see the little juvenile's face right there. He's got, Basically very similar to his dad there. He's got his eye right here. Let's see. See his little eyes right there. His nose and his mouth is right there. Sitting on top of his dad's head there. See? Check him out. Just amazing, man. Absolutely amazing footage. But I got this one image. There's like 5 or 6 Sasquatches in it. It's this one footage I got. It's just amazing. Let's see if I can find it. There's one peeking around a tree there at me. Tiny little guy. That's that one giant in that one photo I'll show you. There's the other, the one adult with the juvenile on his head there. Let me see here. Bear with me here just a second. Here's this Sasquatch, well camouflaged, but head's like that. Here's his eye. All right, there's his nose. He's got a grayish strip up through his hair there. And then looks like he might be a little bald here or different coloration or whatever, but definitely a Sasquatch hidden right there in plain sight. Trying to hide out. Check him out. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to turn some of the sharpness up here. And lighten him up here. Now in this image, you also got an adult right here, right? There's his nose, there's his mouth, his upper lip, and he's got a little juvenile setting on his head here. Here's his eyes, there's his nose, and he's got his hands covering up the eye of the adult. He's sitting on top of the adult's head. I know it's hard to see anything with that scribble, but you can see the juvenile sitting on top of the adult's head, and he's got his little hands cuffed over, covering the eyes of the adult. And then you got this adult standing up right behind him, leaning down. Look at that. Just amazing, man. Amazing footage. Staying well hidden. Let's see here. So I got some pretty good images in this burst mode. So here's the Sasquatch leaning around a tree right there. See him? It's hard, you don't see any of his features, but you can see his silhouette there, peeking around a tree, right? We'll come out here for a minute and look. Bear with me here just a second. Looking for this footage real quick. You can see that adult's face there. Well, I'm going to end up making another video when I find that footage, because it's pretty important footage. Here's one. Just a minute here. There's a Sasquatch holding up a littler Sasquatch there. Just a minute. I got better footage of this, I'll find. Just a minute here. Let me take a look. Let me see if it's... Let's see if I can brighten it up a little bit. Okay. Okay, he come to get this little juvenile out of the tree. And there's the adult. And here's the juvenile. He's got his arm wrapped around there. And that little juvenile looks like he's got like a albino colored hair. His hair looks white there, unless he's got he's got his hair stained somehow. But you can see his little arms right here, and he's got his hands draped over. This adult's arm comes around like that, holding him. Right? Here's his elbow, and his arms like that. And this little juvenile sitting in his arms. And there's his head. But he's got white hair. Sitting in the cuff of the adult's arm. And then there's another little juvenile on top of the adult's head there. So there's two Sasquatches right there with the juvenile. And then, let me see, and here's one right here with his head down. Just a minute here. See if I can find that. Right there. So, he's back there standing behind a tree. There's his head like that. And then there's his eyes, there's his nose, and his mouth like that. Leaning down. And there's his ear. Right there. Anyways, I got so much footage to go through here. And this video is starting to run kind of long, so there's another Sasquatch standing behind that tree. It's just amazing how much footage I got. So yeah, I'd like to welcome all my new members. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And yeah, let others know about the channel. If you see any kind of dialogue on Sasquatches on other videos, put my name out there. I'd appreciate it, man. And I would like to grow this channel. It's not growing very well. But hey, I'm putting out genuine footage. There ain't none of this footage sketchy. It's all real. And yeah, I'm on the internet researching Bigfoot and studying it, and I don't see a lot of good footage out there. And I've put up a lot of good footage on this channel. I'm actually quite surprised that the channel has not grown. But it is what it is. I'm on TikTok now, so hopefully I'll just stay on TikTok once it grows a little bit more. Anyways, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Appreciate you. Peace.